It's streaming. Okay. Hello, students. Very good morning to all of you. So, welcome to Easy Science YouTube channel. So, in this channel, I'll explain about the concept of general science, which is very useful for all government exams. So, in this channel, I'll discuss about the previous year papers and the model of questions that are going to be asked in the exam. So everything I will discuss in my channel. So please subscribe to Easy Science YouTube channel and click the bell icon so that you will get all the notifications of my channel. So let's go to our topic today. So today's our topic is cell biology. Right. So you know that cell is the basic unit of all living organisms. It's the basic unit of all living organisms. And unicellular organisms, like we have two types of organisms, like unicellular and multicellular organisms. Unicellular means they have only single cell, and multicellular organisms are having more than one cell. Unicellular organisms are capable of independent existence and performing all the activities of the cell. Anything less than a complete structure of the cell does not ensure independent living. That is, every cell has some special, like specific features. So any feature which is less than the normal features will not allow the organism to live. Robert Hooke was the first scientist who observed the cell. He observed the cell in the cork slice. Cork means which is a bark of tree. It's a non-living cell in the year 1665. So this is very important. Robert Hooke first discovered the cell in the slice of cork, and the name cell was coined by Robert Hooke, and he has taken this word from, it's a Latin word which means a small room. And the cell observed by the Robert Hooke was a dead cell. The cell he observed is a dead cell. Later, Anton van Leeuwenhoek, he in aquatic animals, he first identified the living cell, and Robert Brown later discovered the nucleus. So this is about the basic discoveries of the cell. లైక్ జీవులన్నిటికీ కూడా జీవకణం అనేది ప్రాథమిక ప్రమాణం. కణం అనేది ఒక ప్రాథమిక ప్రమాణం. మనకి ఏకకణ జీవుల్లో కేవలం ఒక్క కణం ఉండడం వల్ల అవి వాటి స్వతంత్ర ఉనికిని కలిగి ఉంటాయి మరియు ఘటం యొక్క అన్ని నిర్మాణ కార్యకలాపాలను నిర్వహిస్తూ ఉంటుంది ఈ ఏకకణం మాత్రమే. ఘటం యొక్క సంపూర్ణమైన నిర్మాణం కంటే తక్కువ ఏదైనా సరే అది స్వతంత్రంగా జీవించడానికి ధృవీకరించదు. Right. So next one. Schleiden and Schwann. After the discovery of the dead cell, living cell and the nucleus, కేంద్రకాన్ని రాబర్ట్ బ్రౌన్ కనుక్కున్నారు. Right. So after all these discoveries, we have two scientists, Schleiden and Schwann. Schleiden is a botanist and Schwann is a zoologist. Botanist means the person who study about plants, and zoologist means the person who study about animals. Say they both represented the cell theory, అంటే కణ సిద్ధాంతాన్ని వారు ప్రదర్శించారు. Like what does a cell theory explain? So it explains that all the plants and animals, that means all the living things, they were composed of cells, and cell is the basic unit of life. So this is the cell theory proposed by Schleiden and Schwann. కణ సిద్ధాంతాన్ని ప్రదర్శించారు స్క్లీడన్ అండ్ స్క్వాన్. అన్ని మొక్కలు మరియు జంతువులు, అంటే జీవించి ఉన్న ఏ జీవి అయినా కూడా కణాలతో కూర్చబడి ఉంటుంది మరియు జీవకణం అనేది జీవితానికి ఒక ప్రాథమిక ప్రమాణం. సో దిస్ వాజ్ గివెన్ బై స్క్లీడన్ అండ్ స్క్వాన్. So this is about plant cell and animal cell. Like what we are discussing is about the plant cell and the animal cell. See, plant cell, animal cell, if you observe, you can find some differences. While observing only, you can find some differences. That is, the plant cell are rectangular in shape and animal cells are circular in shape. And if you observe, the nucleus of the plant cell is to the periphery and the nucleus of animal cell is to the center, and bigger vacuoles are present, and vacuoles are very small in the case of the animal cell, right? So basic differences like chloroplasts are present which are absent in the animal cell. So some basic differences are there in the plant and animal cells. మనము మొక్క యొక్క కణంలోను జంతువుల యొక్క కణాల్లోనూ వివిధ రకాలైన డిఫరెన్సెస్ అబ్జర్వ్ చేయొచ్చు. మొక్క యొక్క కణము చతురాస్రాకారంలో ఉంది, అలాగే జంతువు యొక్క కణము సర్క్యులర్గా ఉంది, రైట్, గుండ్రంగా ఉంది. అట్లాగే కేంద్రకం మొక్క కణంలో ఒక పక్కకి ఉంది, కేంద్రకం సరిగ్గా మధ్యకి ఉంది ఒక జంతువు యొక్క కణంలో. అలాగే వాక్యూల్స్ వచ్చేటప్పటికి చాలా పెద్దవిగా ఉన్నాయి మొక్క యొక్క కణంలో, అట్లాగే వాక్యూల్స్ అనేవి చాలా చిన్నవిగా ఉన్నాయి మనకి జంతు కణాలలో, రైట్. అలాగే కొన్ని మొక్క కణాల్లో ఉన్నవి మనము జంతువు యొక్క కణాలలో చూడట్లేదు. సో దీస్ ఆర్ ద డిఫరెన్సెస్ బిట్వీన్ ప్లాంట్ సెల్ అండ్ యానిమల్ సెల్. సో ద స్టడీ ఆఫ్ సెల్స్ ఈజ్ నోన్ యాజ్ సెల్ బయాలజీ. Cell theory could not explain how the new cells are formed. Cell theory explains that every living organism is made up of cell, and cell is the basic structural and functional unit of a living organism. So Rudolf Virchow in 1855, he first explained that the pre-existing cells divide and the new cells are formed. That is, he gave a sentence called omnicellula e cellula, which means all the cells arises from their pre-existing cells. So later, after the discovery of this pre-existing cells divide and give rise to new cells, he modified the hypothesis of Schleiden and Schwann and give cell theory a final shape. So the postulates of cell theory are: all organisms are composed of one or more cells. If it is one cell, we call it as unicellular, and if it has more cells, we call it as multicellular organism. And cell is the basic unit of structure, function and organization in all the living organism. Cell, it is the basic unit of structure, function and organization, and all the cells arises from their pre-existing cells. Already the existing cell divide and give rise to its daughter cells. So after division, the cell will not be there, only daughter cells will be there. So like that, the cells give rise to the pre-existing cells, give rise to the new daughter cells. So these are the postulates of the cell theory, right? కణాల అధ్యయనాన్ని మనం కణజీవ శాస్త్రం అంటాం. కొత్త కణాలు ఎట్లా ఏర్పడతాయి అనే విషయాన్ని కణ సిద్ధాంతం వివరించలేకపోయింది. 1885లో రుడాల్ఫ్ విర్షా ముందుగా ఉనికిలో ఉన్న కణాల విభజన వలన కొత్త కణాలు ఏర్పడతాయని వివరించారు. అతను స్క్లీడెన్ అండ్ స్క్వాన్ యొక్క పరికల్పనకు తుది ఆకృతిని ఇచ్చారు. సో అందులోని పాస్టులేట్స్ ఏమిటంటే, అన్ని జీవులలో కూడా ఒకటి లేదా అంతకంటే ఎక్కువ ఘటాలతో కూర్చబడి ఉంటాయి. అలాగే ఘటం అనేది నిర్మాణం యొక్క ప్రాథమిక యూనిట్. అలాగే అన్ని జీవరాశుల్లో ఉండే అన్ని ఘటాలు కూడా ముందస్తుగా ఉన్న ఘటాల నుండి ఉత్పన్నమవుతున్నాయి, విభజన ద్వారా ఉత్పన్నమవుతాయి. ఈ సిద్ధాంతాన్ని మనకు రుడాల్ఫ్ విర్షా ఇచ్చారు, రైట్. So the basic components of the cell are, so there are three basic components. They are cell membrane or plasma membrane, nucleus and cytoplasm. These three are the basic components of the cell. So ఘటం యొక్క ప్రాథమిక భాగాలు ఏవంటే కణత్వచం లేదా ప్లాస్మా పొర, కేంద్రకము, కణద్రవ్యము. ఈ మూడు కూడా ఘటం యొక్క ప్రాథమిక భాగాలు. సో మనం ఇప్పుడు ఈ కణం యొక్క భాగాల గురించి తెలుసుకుందాము, ప్రాథమిక భాగాల గురించి. లెట్స్ లెర్న్ అబౌట్ ద బేసిక్ కాంపోనెంట్స్ ఆఫ్ ద సెల్. Cell wall is the outermost part of the plant cell. So pradhamika bhagalu, like basic components of the cell, we started with cell membrane or plasma membrane, which gives protection and proper shape to the cell. This is true for animal cell. For plant cell, there is another layer before the plasma membrane. There is an another layer which we called it as cell membrane or plasma membrane, which is another layer before the plasma membrane, which we called it as cell wall. So cell wall is the outermost part of the plant cell. So cell wall is the outermost part of the plant cell. It's very rigid and it's a non-living thing of the cell, and the function is to provide shape and structural support to the cell, and it also protect the cell from outside attack and infection, because plants are exposed to a wide variety of environmental changes because it was present in an open place, so it exposed to wide variety of environmental changes when compared to the animals. It has to tolerate that higher environmental changes. In order to tolerate, it has an another extra layer surrounding the cell, which we called it as cell wall. It is found in plants, algae, bacteria, fungi. Cell wall not only present in only plant cell, it's also present in algae, bacteria and fungi also. సో ఘటం అనేది మొక్క కణంలోని బాహ్య భాగం. సెల్ వాల్ ఘటం అనేది మొక్క కణంలోని ఒక బాహ్య భాగం. ఇది దృఢమైన మరియు నాన్ లివింగ్. కణాలకు ఇది ఆకృతిని మరియు నిర్మాణాత్మక మద్దతుని అందిస్తుంది. ఇది కణాన్ని వెలుపల దాడి మరియు అంటువ్యాధుల నుంచి కాపాడుతుంది. మొక్కల్లోనే కాక ఈ ఘటం అనేది ఆల్గే, బ్యాక్టీరియా, శిలీంధ్రాలలో కూడా కనిపిస్తుంది. So we have, like, the cell wall is made up of different materials. Bacterial cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan. Fungi wall is made up of chitin. Algae is made up of glycoproteins or polysaccharides. And plant cell is made up of cellulose. So different layers of different organisms are made up of different substances. Like the bacterial cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan and fungi is made up of chitin. Algae cell wall is made up of either glycoproteins or polysaccharides, and plant cell is made up of cellulose. So bacterial ఘటంలో పెప్టిడోగ్లైకన్ ఉంటుంది, అలాగే శీలింధ్రాలలో ఖైటిన్ ఉంటుంది, ఆల్గేలో గ్లైకోప్రోటీన్లు, పాలీసాకరైడ్లు ఉంటాయి, అలాగే మొక్క యొక్క ఘటంలో, మొక్క కణంలోని ఘటంలో మనకి సెల్యులోజ్ ఉంటుంది. Cell wall is made up of 3 layers. Like what we are thinking is cell wall, it's not a single layer, it's made up of 3 layers. The 3 layers are middle lamellae, primary cell wall, secondary cell wall. Even some of the plants have tertiary cell wall also. So the middle lamellae, it's an amorphous layer between the 2 adjacent layers, and this is the first layer. So it was present between, middle lamellae was present between primary cell wall and secondary cell wall, and it is the first layer that was deposited at the time of cytokinesis. So what do you mean by cytokinesis? Cytokinesis means division of cytoplasm is known as cytokinesis. During division, I said Rudolf Virchow explained that all the new cells arises from pre-existing cells, right? So during the division of the cell, karyokinesis and cytokinesis takes place. Karyokinesis means division of nucleus. Cytokinesis means division of cytoplasm. So during this division of cytoplasm, the first layer deposited will be the middle lamellae. So after the middle lamellae is known as the outermost layer of the cell wall, and primary cell wall is, the next layer is primary cell wall. It's very thin, flexible, extensible layer which is composed of cellulose, pectin and hemicellulose. So primary cell wall is the only cell wall in meristematic cells. You know the meristematic cells are actively dividing cells. So in actively dividing cells, only primary cell wall is present. and it's made up of, primary cell wall is made up of cellulose, pectin and hemicellulose. And if the cell wall, like primary cell wall, stops dividing, it becomes thicker and get converted into secondary cell wall, which is a non-living thing. Primary cell wall is a living thing and secondary cell wall is a non-living thing. So secondary cell wall, I said it's very thick and it's non-elastic and very rigid. And it's totally made up of cellulose. If you observe in the primary cell wall, we have cellulose, pectin, hemicellulose. But secondary cell wall is purely made up of cellulose only. ఘటం గోడ 3 పొరలుగా ఉంటుంది. ఒకటి మధ్య లామెల్లే, రెండు పక్క పొరల మధ్య పలచని అస్పాక్షిక పొర. ఇది సైటోకైనసిస్ సమయంలో నిక్షిప్తమై ఉన్న మొదటి పొర. ప్రైమరీ సెల్ వాల్ అనేది సెల్యులోజ్, పెక్టిన్, హెమిసెల్యులోజ్తో కూర్చిన ఒక పలచని ఫ్లెక్సిబుల్ ఎక్స్టర్నల్ లేయర్. ద్వితీయ కణకవచం మందపాటి పొర, కానీ సాగే గుణం దానికి ఉండదు అండ్ ఇది చాలా దృఢంగా ఉంటుంది. దీనిని సెల్యులోజ్తో తయారు చేయబడి ఉంటుంది. So this is the diagrammatic representation of different layers of the cell wall. I said middle lamellae is the outermost layer of the cell wall and this is primary cell wall in plasma membrane. This is newly formed cells, actively dividing cells. Primary cell wall is present, which is made up of pectin, cellulose and hemicellulose, and it has some soluble proteins. They are plasma membrane proteins. Cellulose synthase enzyme will be there to synthesize the cellulose. And I said the secondary cell wall, when primary cell wall starts, the meristematic cells have stopped dividing. The primary cell wall get converted into secondary cell wall, thickens. Now if you observe the thickness of the primary cell wall and secondary cell wall, you can observe it. This is thicker. Secondary wall is thicker than the primary cell wall and it's purely made up of cellulose only. So these are the layers of the cell wall. It is made up of 3 layers: middle lamellae, primary cell wall and secondary cell wall. Right. So the next one is plasma membrane. This is the component of the cell which we already discussed. There are 3 important components. One is plasma membrane, second one is nucleus and third one is cytoplasm. So before going to plasma membrane, we study about cell wall, which is exclusively present in plants, algae, bacteria and fungi, and different layers also we discuss. Like bacterial cell wall is made up of peptidoglycans and fungi cell wall is made up of chitin and algae cell wall is made up of polysaccharides, right? And plant cell wall is made up of cellulose. Right, now let's discuss about plasma membrane. Plasma membrane is considered as the outermost covering of the cell. So the function is to separate the contents of the cell from the external environment. Like appears to be a room, all the contents will be present in that room only. That means cell gets separated from the external environment by this plasma membrane only. It's made up of 58 to 59% of proteins and 40% of lipids, and generally they are phospholipids. So what do you mean by phospholipids? We know lipids means fats, phospholipids means which contain a phosphorus group, and cholesterol, even 1 to 2% carbohydrates are also present. And it is very thin. Plasma membrane is very thin, flexible and it's a selectively permeable membrane. See, like if we discuss about the biological membranes, the biological membranes are of different types. Like we have permeable, impermeable, semi-permeable and selectively permeable membrane. So what do you mean by permeable? Permeable means allows all the substances, like all the liquid particles and solid particles to pass through it. That is called permeable. Impermeable means does not allow any substances to pass through it. That is either liquid or solid substances also it cannot allow. It will not allow. And the next one is semi-permeable. Allows all the liquid particles to pass through it but does not allow any solid particles to pass through it. It's known as semi-permeable. Now plasma membrane is a selectively permeable membrane. So what do you mean by a selectively permeable membrane? Selectively permeable membrane means allows all the liquid particles to pass through it and allows some of the solid particles to pass through it. That is known as selectively permeable membrane. So plasma membrane is a selectively permeable membrane. Right. So to explain the structure of the plasma membrane, we have three different models. So let's discuss that. How many models are there? Three different models are there. So the first one is the sandwich model. It was proposed by Davison and Daniel. The plasma membrane model. It is sandwich model in which two layers of proteins are there, in which in between the two protein layers you have a lipid layer. This model we called it as sandwich model. So protein layers are hydrophilic. Hydrophilic means water loving. Philic means loving. Phobic means fear. And this lipid layer is hydrophobic. Hydrophobic means it's water hating. Right. So this is the model proposed by Davison and Danieli. It is called sandwich model, where two layers of protein layers, in between one fat layer will be there. Lipid layer will be there. And the second one is unit membrane model, which is proposed by Robertson. That's why this model is known as Robertson model. And three layers, the same thing like what sandwich model explained, it also has a three layered model, but in between the protein layers you have a lipid bilayer, right? So that is called Robertson model of unit membrane model. Next you have is, it is fluid mosaic model. This model is known as fluid mosaic model. So this model of plasma membrane is widely accepted model where proteins are present here and there, but cholesterol molecules are also present, some carbohydrates are present, proteins are present, but this layers we called it as, it is lipid layers. Here and there proteins are present, like it's fluid mosaic model. Like lipids are present as a fluid in which you have proteins, carbohydrates, cholesterol will be present. So this is the widely accepted model of plasma membrane, right? Next we will discuss about the functions of the plasma membrane. ప్లాస్మా పొర యొక్క విధులు ఏమిటి, అది నిర్వర్తించే విధులు ఏమిటి, right? It's maintain shape and provide support to the cell and protects the interior contents, components of the cell, like what is present inside the cell will be maintained, protected by plasma membrane by selectively allowing movement of substances in and out of the cell. Its flexible nature allows the cell to engulf food and other substances from surroundings environment. So as I already said, plasma membrane is a flexible. So this flexible nature allows the cell to engulf the food and other substances from the surrounding environment. And this phenomena of taking food, we called it as endocytosis, which is common in amoeba, which is a unicellular organism. Right. So these are the functions of the plasma membrane. Right. Next we will go to the nucleus. Nucleus was first discovered by Robert Brown in the year 1831. It's a very important component of the living cell, and it's located at the center in the animal cell and periphery in a plant cell, and it will act as a major controlling center of the cell. That's why it is called as brain of the cell. Nucleus controls all the functions of the cell. That's why nucleus is considered as the brain of the cell. So just discuss about the components of the nucleus. కేంద్రకంలోని మనం ఉన్న అంశాలని మనం ఇప్పుడు డిస్కస్ చేద్దాం. So this is the diagrammatic representation of a nucleus, and if you observe, it's a membrane bound structures, right? It's a membrane bound structure, double membranous structure. So there is space between the two membranes, outer membrane, inner membrane. Outer membrane is towards the plasma membrane and inner membrane is towards the nucleoplasm, right? and the space between the two membranes is known as perinuclear space, and you have small thread-like structures here which we called it as chromatin, and circular structures are there which we called it as nucleolus, right? The spherical structures present inside the nucleus we called it as nucleolus, and if you observe, the outer membrane is connected to the endoplasmic reticulum on which ribosomes are present. So ribosomes helps in synthesis of proteins, right? So that is the different structures which we observed inside the nucleus, right? So these are the important structures of the nucleus. Now let us discuss about each and every structure. Nucleus is surrounded by a membrane known as nuclear membrane. I said it's a double membranous structure. That membrane we called it as nuclear membrane. You have outer membrane and inner membrane. The space between the membrane is filled, it is known as perinuclear space, and it's filled by a fluid, right? And the layers are made up of proteins and fats, and which encloses the contents of the nucleus. The main function of this membrane is like it separates the contents of the nucleus from the environment of the cell, and it contains micropores. Even the membrane has some micropores which allowing the transfer of materials from inside the nucleus to outside. And outer membrane, I already said, it was connected to endoplasmic reticulum which involves in protein synthesis. The fluid present inside the nucleus is known as nucleoplasm. So inside the nucleus there is a fluid which we called it as nucleoplasm. So the fluid we called it as nucleoplasm, and it's little acidic in nature. So it is also known as nucleoplasm, is also known as karyoplasm or nuclear sap. And it's composed of, nucleoplasm is composed of nucleolus and chromatin, both are present. It's made up of abundant proteins, phosphorus and nucleic acids. Like the nuclear membrane is made up of proteins and fats. Now here nucleolus, that is nucleoplasm, is made up of abundant proteins, phosphorus and nucleic acid. We already discussed in the diagram the spherical structures which are present inside the nucleus is known as nucleolus. Nucleolus, generally they were present one or more in number. Its main function is to synthesize rRNA. rRNA means ribosomal RNA, which involves in the synthesis of proteins and to storage genetic information in DNA. So there are some thread-like rod-shaped structures which are present inside the nucleus, which we called it as chromosomes. They were made up of, like chromosomes are made up of DNA and protein, and they carry genes and acts as a unit of inheritance in living organisms. So these chromosomes carry genes. Genes acts as inheritance, like they pass characters from one generation to another generation. As chromosomes are carrying these genes, they are also called as hereditary vehicles in the living organisms, right? So this is about nucleus, and let's discuss about cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is the fluid present inside the cell. Nucleoplasm is the fluid present inside the nucleus, and cytoplasm is the fluid which is present inside the cell, and it is viscous in nature. In the year, and if you go to the discovery in 1835, Dujardin, he first discovered the protoplasm and he named it as sarcode, and later Purkinje introduced the term protoplasm as it is the living content of the cell. See, before initially we have a compound microscope, right? So this explains that compound microscope, we cannot observe structures present inside the nucleus, inside the cell. So they thought that this cytoplasm will perform all the functions and is responsible for the living thing, like living characteristic of the cell. It was performing different functions which is necessary for a living organism. That's why they named it as a protoplasm. But later, after the discovery of the electron microscope, they identified that the cytoplasm is divided into two parts, cytosol and cell organelles. Cytosol means the fluid. Organelles are some structures which are present inside this liquid which perform different functions. If every organelle has its own function and perform its function, which helps the cell to be present as a living thing. So they named, after the discovery of the cell organelles, they named protoplasm as cytoplasm, right? So even some nuclear matrix is also present inside the nucleus. So this is a network of fine fibrils of acid proteins, and what is the function of this fibrils is their function is in chromatin. Right, like they appear as chromatin. Chromatin is hereditary DNA protein fibrillar complex. Chromatin is nothing but it's a DNA protein fibrillar complex. And why it was named as chromatin means it has ability to get stained by some dyes. If you apply dyes, this chromatin will take more colors. That's why it was named as chromatin. It's a DNA protein fibrillar complex. So it's basically made up of histone proteins. So this, what are this histone protein means? DNA, RNA proteins are known as histone proteins. So let's discuss about the characteristics of a cell. So it's capable of independent existence and its ability to replicate independently, and it has the capacity to perform certain basic functions depending upon its location, and it's contain hereditary information which passes from one generation to the other, and the number of cells present in a living organism will always be dependent upon the size and the body organization of the living organism. So these are the characteristics of a cell. సో స్వతంత్ర అస్తిత్వపు సామర్థ్యం కలిగి ఉంటుంది, స్వతంత్రంగా ప్రతిరూపం చేయగల సామర్థ్యం కలిగి ఉంటుంది, దాని లొకేషన్ని బట్టి నిర్దిష్ట ప్రాథమిక విధులను నిర్వహించే సామర్థ్యం కలిగి ఉంటుంది, ఒక తరం నుండి మరొక తరానికి ప్రసరిస్తున్న వంశపారంపర్య సమాచారాన్ని కలిగి ఉంటుంది, కణాల సంఖ్య దేహ వ్యవస్థ దేహ పరిమాణంపై ఆధారపడి ఉంటుంది. So these are the characteristics of a cell. So this ends the lesson. Like, let us discuss about we'll just discuss about some questions, right? Right. So here the largest cell of the, sorry ma, it's 20. Right. So just discuss about some questions. The term cell is coined by option A Robert Brown, option B Robert Hooke, right? Option C Schleiden, option D Swan. కణం అనే పదాన్ని ఎవరు ప్రతిపాదించారు? ఆప్షన్ ఏ రాబర్ట్ బ్రౌన్, ఆప్షన్ బి రాబర్ట్ హుక్, ఆప్షన్ సి స్క్లీడన్, ఆప్షన్ డి స్క్వాన్. So the term cell is coined by Robert Hooke. So the meaning of the cell means it is considered as a small room. It is considered as a small room. It's a Latin word. Cell is derived from a Latin word. So that was given by Robert Hooke. Right. Let's just discuss about next question. Let's go to the next question. The study of cells is called option A cell theory, option B cell botany, option C cell zoology, option D cell biology. కణాల అధ్యయనాన్ని మనం ఏమని పిలుస్తాము? కణ సిద్ధాంతం ఆప్షన్ ఏ, Option B, Jantu Shastram. Option B, Vriksha Shastram. Option C, Jantu Shastram. Option D, Kana Siddhantam, cell biology. So the study of cells we called it as, it is cell biology. Study of cells is known as cell biology. Next question. Like we discussed, the cell wall is present not only in the plant cell, it is present in bacteria, algae, fungi also. So the bacterial cell wall is made up of option A, chitin, option B, peptidoglycan, option C, it's glycoproteins, option D, cellulose. బ్యాక్టీరియా కణకవచం దేనితో తయారు చేయబడి ఉంటుంది? Right, so it's option A, chitin, option B, peptidoglycin, and option C, glycoproteins, option D, cellulose. Bacterial cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan, and it's peptidoglycan. Bacterial cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan. Right. Now, fungi cell wall is made up of option A, cellulose, option B, glycoprotein, option C, chitin, option D, peptidoglycan. శీలీంద్ర కణకవచం దేనితో తయారు చేయబడి ఉంటుంది? సెల్యులోస్, option A, cellulose, option B, glycoprotein, option C, chitin, option D, peptidoglycan. So the option is chitin. Fungi cell wall is made up of chitin. Next question. The number of layers in the cell wall. కణగోడలోని పొరల సంఖ్య. ఆప్షన్ ఏ 1, ఆప్షన్ బి 2, ఆప్షన్ సి 3, ఆప్షన్ డి 4. కణగోడలలోని పొరల సంఖ్య. ఆప్షన్ ఏ 1, ఆప్షన్ బి 2, ఆప్షన్ సి 3, ఆప్షన్ డి 4. So the correct option is, we already discussed, it is made up of 3 layers. So what are the 3 layers of the cell wall? It's middle lamellae, the second one is primary cell wall, and the third one is secondary cell wall. So this is about the layers of the cell wall, which we already discussed, right? Next. Plasma membrane is dash membrane. ద్రవ్యపు పొర లేదంటే ప్లాస్మా పొర ఏ రకమైన పొర? ఆప్షన్ ఏ పర్మియబుల్, ఆప్షన్ బి ఇంపర్మియబుల్, ఆప్షన్ సి సెలెక్టివ్లీ పర్మియబుల్, ఆప్షన్ డి ఆల్. ద్రవ్యపు పొర ఎటువంటి పొర? చొరబాటు పొర, ప్రవేశించలేని పొర, ఎంచుకోదగిన పొర, పైవి అన్ని. ప్లాస్మా మెంబ్రేన్ ఈజ్ dash layer. So plasma membrane is a selectively permeable membrane. So what do you mean by a selectively permeable membrane? Selectively permeable means allows all the liquid substances to pass through it, and allows all the liquid substances to pass through it, and even it allows some solid substances to pass through it, is known as a selectively permeable membrane. Plasma membrane is a selectively permeable membrane. Right? Next question. Let's go to next question. Okay. Right. I think no, sorry ma, first question ki. Right, next question only this is. Sorry, we moved a little. Right, The next question, we'll go to the next question. The process of engulfing food and other substances from the surrounding environment is known as dash. పరిసర వాతావరణం నుంచి ఆహారం మరియు ఇతర పదార్థాలను తోలడం అనే ప్రక్రియను మనము ఏమంటాము? సో దిస్ ఈస్ ద ప్రాపర్టీ ఆఫ్ సెల్ వాల్. The process of engulfing, it is a property of plasma membrane. The process of engulfing food and other substances from surrounding environment is known as option A exocytosis, option B endocytosis, option C both A and B, option D none. పరిసర వాతావరణం నుంచి ఆహారం మరియు ఇతర పదార్థాలను తోలడం అనే ప్రక్రియను మనం ఏమంటాం? లోపలికి తీసుకోవడం, సెల్ లోపలికి, కణం లోపలికి తీసుకునే ఆ ప్రక్రియను మనము ఏమంటాం? ఆప్షన్ ఏ ఎగ్జోసైటోసిస్, ఆప్షన్ బి ఎండోసైటోసిస్, ఆప్షన్ సి బోత్ ఏ అండ్ బి, ఆప్షన్ డి నన్. సో ద కరెక్ట్ ఆప్షన్ ఈజ్ ఆప్షన్ బి ఎండోసైటోసిస్. ఎండో లోపలికి, సైటో సెల్, సో కణం లోపలికి తీసుకుంటుంది కాబట్టి దీన్ని మనం ఎండోసైటోసిస్ అంటాం. అమీబా దాని ఫుడ్ని తీసుకునే ప్రక్రియ ఇదేనమ్మా, ఎండోసైటోసిస్. రైట్. నెక్స్ట్ క్వశ్చన్. సో ద outermost layer of the cell wall is known as dash. Option A middle lamellae, option B primary cell wall, option C secondary cell wall, option D none. So outermost layer of the cell wall is known as dash. Option A middle lamellae, option B primary cell wall, option C సెకండరీ సెల్ వాల్, ఆప్షన్ డి నన్. కణగోడల యొక్క బాహ్య పొరను దేనిగా పేర్కొంటారు? ఆప్షన్ ఏ మిడిల్ లామెల్లే, ఆప్షన్ బి ప్రైమరీ సెల్ వాల్, ఆప్షన్ సి సెకండరీ సెల్ వాల్, ఆప్షన్ డి నన్. నేను డయాగ్రామ్లో కూడా చూపించానమ్మా. మిడిల్ లామెల్లే ఈజ్ ద అవుటర్ మోస్ట్ లేయర్ ఆఫ్ ద సెల్ వాల్. రైట్. విల్ గో టు ద నెక్స్ట్ క్వశ్చన్. Dash helps to tolerate much greater changes in the environment. పర్యావరణంలో ఎక్కువ మార్పులను సహించడానికి ఏ పొర సహాయపడుతుంది? ఆప్షన్ ఏ ప్లాస్మా మెంబ్రేన్, ప్లాస్మా పొర, ఆప్షన్ బి సైటోప్లాజం, ఆప్షన్ సి ప్రోటోప్లాజం, ఆప్షన్ డి సెల్ వాల్. Dash helps to tolerate much greater changes in the environment. పర్యావరణంలో ఎక్కువ మార్పులను సహించడానికి ఏ పొర సహాయపడుతుంది? ఆప్షన్ ఏ ప్లాస్మా మెంబ్రేన్, ఆప్షన్ బి సైటోప్లాజం, ఆప్షన్ సి ప్రోటోప్లాజం, ఆప్షన్ డి సెల్ వాల్. The option is cell wall. Cell wall helps to tolerate much greater changes in the environment as it is very rigid and very thick. It helps the plant cell to tolerate much greater changes in the environment. Right. We'll go to next question. Right. Right. Match the following, and these type of questions also they are asking not only the one word answers, even they are asking match the following. I have given here 4 scientists name and their inventions I have given, so match them. నేను ఇక్కడ సైంటిస్ట్ పేర్లు ఇచ్చాను, వాళ్ళ ఇన్వెన్షన్స్ కూడా ఇచ్చానమ్మా. దీన్ని కరెక్ట్గా మనం మ్యాచ్ చేయాలి. సో ద సైంటిస్ట్ నేమ్స్ ఆర్ రాబర్ట్ బ్రౌన్, రాబర్ట్ హుక్, ఆప్షన్ సి పర్కింజే, ఆప్షన్ డి యాంటాన్ వాన్ లీవెన్హాక్. సో ఇక్కడ వాళ్ళ ఇన్వెన్షన్స్ కూడా ఇచ్చానమ్మా, దాన్ని మీరు కరెక్ట్గా మ్యాచ్ చేయాలి. ఆప్షన్ 1 లివింగ్ సెల్, ఆప్షన్ 2 ప్రోటోప్లాజం, ఆప్షన్ 3 న్యూక్లియస్, ఆప్షన్ 4 సెల్. Right. So we have to match the correct option. Robert Brown, Robert Hooke, Purkinje, Leeuwenhoek. So the correct option is option A. So just discuss why this is the correct option. Robert Brown discovered nucleus. Right. Robert Hooke discovered the cell and coined the term cell. Purkinje coined the term protoplasm because he identified that as like this fluid filled substance of the cell will perform all the functions of the cell. That's why he named it as protoplasm, and Leeuwenhoek first identified the living cell. So Robert Brown A for 3 and Robert Hooke B for 4, Purkinje C for 2, Leeuwenhoek D for 1. So here option A is correct. Right. Just go to next question. The basic components of the cell are. కణం యొక్క ప్రాథమిక భాగాలు ఏవి? ఆప్షన్ ఏ ప్లాస్మా మెంబ్రేన్, ఆప్షన్ బి న్యూక్లియస్, ఆప్షన్ సి సైటోప్లాజం, ఆప్షన్ డి ఆల్. కణం యొక్క ప్రాథమిక భాగాలు ఆప్షన్ ఏ ప్లాస్మా పొర, ఆప్షన్ బి కేంద్రకం, ఆప్షన్ సి కణద్రవ్యం, ఆప్షన్ డి పైవి అన్ని. సో కణం యొక్క ప్రాథమిక భాగాలు పైవి అన్ని. ద బేసిక్ కాంపోనెంట్స్ ఆఫ్ ద సెల్ ఆర్ ఆల్ ప్లాస్మా మెంబ్రేన్, న్యూక్లియస్ అండ్ సైటోప్లాజం. రైట్. విల్ గో టు ద నెక్స్ట్ క్వశ్చన్. రైట్. సో డాష్ యాక్ట్స్ యాజ్ ఎ బ్రెయిన్ ఆఫ్ ద సెల్. కణం యొక్క మెదడుగా ఏది పనిచేస్తుంది? ఆప్షన్ ఏ న్యూక్లియస్, ఆప్షన్ బి సైటోప్లాజం, ఆప్షన్ సి ప్లాస్మా మెంబ్రేన్, ఆప్షన్ డి సెల్ వాల్. కణం యొక్క మెదడుగా ఏది పని చేస్తుంది? ఆప్షన్ ఏ కేంద్రకం, ఆప్షన్ బి కణద్రవ్యం, ఆప్షన్ సి ప్లాస్మా పొర, ఆప్షన్ డి సెల్ వాల్. కణగోడలు. So dash acts as the brain of the cell means nucleus, which we already discussed, because nucleus control all the activities of the cell and functions of the cell. That's why nucleus is considered as the brain of the cell. Right. Next question. Right. This is the next question, my 12th question. The functions of outermost layer of the nuclear membrane is. The functions of outermost layer of the nuclear membrane is. కేంద్రక త్వచం వెలుపలి పొర యొక్క విధులు. ఆప్షన్ ఏ లిపిడ్ సింథసిస్, ఆప్షన్ బి ప్రోటీన్ సింథసిస్, ఆప్షన్ సి కార్బోహైడ్రేట్ సింథసిస్, ఆప్షన్ డి ఆల్. కేంద్రక త్వచం వెలుపలి పొర యొక్క విధులు. ఆప్షన్ ఏ లిపిడ్ సంశ్లేషణ, ఆప్షన్ బి ప్రోటీన్ సంశ్లేషణ, ఆప్షన్ సి కార్బోహైడ్రేట్ సంశ్లేషణ, ఆప్షన్ డి పైవి అన్ని. రైట్. ఇట్స్ function is protein synthesis, protein samsleshana. We already discussed ma, the outer layer is connected to endoplasmic reticulum where ribosomes are present. So ribosomes helps in protein synthesis. So the function of the outermost layer of nuclear membrane is protein synthesis. Right. Next question. Nucleoplasm contains. Nucleoplasm means what? The liquid filled portion present inside the nucleus is known as nucleoplasm. So nucleoplasm contains option A nucleolus and chromatin, option B chromatin, option C nucleolus, option D none. Right. Nucleoplasm contains option A nucleolus and chromatin, option B chromatin, option C nucleolus, option D none. So which option is correct? Option A is correct. Right. It contains both nucleolus and chromatin. Right.
three notebooks and two pens. Please, sir.